Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, I finally got a chance to take the dual sport bike out here and actually do some true mine exploring back on roads that probably nobody should be on because it is so overgrown up in here, it's just incredible. But we're going to explore some mines today. We're going to look at least three mines today. Right now we're at Cabell City. The mill that I showed you last year on a video is right down below us. I wanted to find out where that material came from that they operated that mill with. And I think it's up above me here. I got the bike up here as far as I could, but this is just so overgrown and nasty, I just stopped here. On Google Earth, I spotted a couple old roofs up in here, and I'm pretty sure maybe that's where the workings are. I think there might be some workings on the hillside above us. If I get a chance, I'll take the bike up there and take a look. After that, we're going to go up to the LaBellevue mine and take a quick look around. I have not been to this mine, so it's going to be an adventure for both of us to figure out what's up there. It looks like it's got some interesting history to it, so I want to explore that mine. Now on the way in, I stopped at another mine and got some footage, and you can see, I'm going to put this at the very end of the video, footage of a complete intact mill, and I think this was probably from the 70s or 80s, I'm guessing. I got the mill kind of filmed. I just used my phone real quick. I just wanted to stop real quick and look around that place, see if it's a mine I want to film for the future. But while I was there, I took some photos of that mill before the building collapses. I did not realize the road I came in on gave no indication that it was private property. But after I got done at the mill site, I went up above where there's some more buildings, and sure enough, there's a sign, private property. So I just stopped right there. Until we get the landowner's permission to do more exploring around there, I don't want to upset anybody. So hopefully we can get a hold of them and get permission to go document what's left at that mine. I hate to see history like that just disappear without any documentation of what was there. So hopefully we can get a hold of the folks that own that mine and they'll let us look around a little further. But at least you'll get to look at that mill real quick before that building starts to collapse. It's still in pretty good shape right now, but the winters up in this area, the snow can get pretty deep, and it doesn't take too long to destroy a building once water starts penetrating. So anyway, let's go up here and look at this. After that, we'll go up this canyon and look at the LaBellevue mine. It's kind of at the top of this ridge line up here. So hope you enjoy. You can see right down below the bike there an old adit that went in the hillside that's got a little water seeping out, but it's completely collapsed. Really nothing to see there. Sorry, I am losing my voice today. But from Google Earth, it looked like there was another building or two up here. I could see roofs up here. Now I'm on my way into another mine, the LaBellevue, I think is what it's called. It's further up above this mine, but I thought I would stop and look at this real quick and see what we find. Well, telltale signs of an opening somewhere close by. I think it might be up in there. I see a building. I see another roof up in front of us. Well, let's look at this building real quick. Looks like the snow got to it. Old washing machine. Not sure what that was. It almost looks like a buzzsaw. Motor still left here. You can see this building was built with just native timber up here. There was some 2x4s, but most of the main structure was native lodgepole, it looks like. A little bit of artifacts left here. don't know if you can see it. That plate or that mud flap says, "Have a happy day." Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a saw of some kind. Looked like there was a little wagon outside here. Not sure how we get to it with all these trees growing up. So indeed, a little wagon, cart of some kind, has not moved in quite a while. You can tell by the size of the trees growing up through it. Okay, this looks like waste rock here. I'm not sure where it came from. Maybe there was an opening that way, because I did see some seepage down on the road. It's like an old, maybe a cooler, toolbox. I'm not sure what that is buried back there. Let's walk up here. It won't be long before all this is gone back to good old Mother Nature. I think, I'll try and get back there to it in a minute, but I think the adit was back there. Another winter or two, this building will probably be collapsed as well. Again, native lodgepole for most of the building. This looks like it was I'm guessing maybe in the 60s this was put in. And that's more modern day plywood. We'll see if we can get a date off that in a second. This is where they would have kept all their pipe fittings and everything. Still some in there. Let's see if we can find a date on this plywood. Well, it's so smudged on there you can't tell what it says. So I think the actual mine they must have had a compressor in there. Here's the compressor line coming out. Went back there and about 95% sure that's collapsed. Some interesting fixtures of some kind. Yep. This is definitely collapsed. So from my understanding, here and a couple other short adits is what fed ore down to that mill down below us at Cabell City. So the road goes on up a little bit, so we'll go see if there's anything further up. A lot of work with all that batten board. And like I said, I doubt whether this building lasts more than another year or two. You can already see that timber right there. Pretty good crack started in it. Gets much of a snow load on it, that's going to be down the ground. We'll see if there's anything further up. I'm pretty sure those are the two roofs I saw from Google Earth. So I walked up a little further and it's just getting thicker and thicker and more down trees. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm hoping that before too long the Oregon Department of Geology flies this with a LiDAR and we can figure out where maybe some more workings are. But as thick as this is in here, I can't find anything. If it's more than 5 feet off this trail, then I'm not going to see it. So we will turn around and head up to some other mines in the area. Well, this is interesting. I didn't notice this before when I walked up. Bunch of track. I think at one time this might have been the entrance to the mine. Interesting. A lot of track laying there. So that's on the lower corner of this building. It was probably covered all the way back in there to the attic. So we've made it to the LaBellevue mine. On the way in, I did see one spot down below. I'm not sure if that was an actual mine or just a spot to store ore for haulage on the way out. Up above me here, there's a large tailing pile there, or waste rock pile up there, and then one over here. And I'm wondering, all this water, if it isn't coming out of one of the tunnels up here. Looks like there was some kind of structure here with running water at it at one time. This would have been a mill site is what it looks like. Yep, definitely a mill site. Pretty neat old bricks. Anytime you see these big cement blocks with big bolts sticking out, it was either a place for a mill to sit or a hoist sat on it. And I'm pretty sure there was no shafts down here according to the mining plans. So this was most likely just the mill site. See the size of some of these beams, my foot compared to it. Pretty good sized beams. You want to be really careful walking across something like that. A lot of times on these mill sites they had big open voids down there where they had a piece of equipment sitting down in there. So when these buildings collapse, there could still be a void down there, and you come walking across that rubble and you'll find yourself down in a hole pretty quick. Pretty strong smell of sulfur here. At some point, somebody brought some heavy equipment in here. I'm not sure why. Whether it was to knock the mill down. Old rubber boot. But look at the size of those cement blocks sitting down there. Those things must weigh, I don't know, 20 ton. And somebody shoved them down there. You can tell they came in here, poked around. I see spots that they've dug. Not sure what they were doing, but fairly old mill, square-headed bolts. A lot of them look like they were hand forged. Yeah, somebody shoved those. You can see the rocks on the bottom used to be down in the ground. I don't know why in the world they would bother shoving those over like that, but well, that looks like about it for the mill site. See if we can figure out if there's a road that leads us up to some of these adit levels. Bunch of barrels sitting down in the creek. One right over there was a stove. A barrel made into a wood stove. So here we are on top of the mountain. I decided to just take the road clear up to the top here. There's a reason for that. Now the mill site is down over this hillside about 600 foot lower in elevation. But according to the old maps, they tunneled completely through this mountain. Well, it went up through either a raise or a winze and come out a little bit higher, but it came out somewhere over on this side. So we're going to see if we can find that. There's also supposedly a raise or an air shaft that pops out somewhere up here. We'll see if we can find that as well. So there's two different levels that pop out on this side. Now total, this mine had about 5,000 to 6,000 feet of workings. And it was done from 4 different adit levels, not counting these 2 over on this side. And it only had about 10 to 20% of the the valuable minerals in sulfides. The rest evidently was free milling. Now it had quite a bit of silver in this mine. The ratio of silver to gold in this mine was 50 to 1. So for every 1 ounce of gold you got 50 ounces of silver out of this mine. Now this basin we're looking in here, Baldy Lake is right up in there. Mount Ireland's that right up there. There's a lookout on it. Over here, there's another mine. I can't think of the name of it right now. But right where that mine is, used to be a power line that come through here. And you can actually see, well, I can see it with my naked eye from here. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. But on Google Earth, you can see where the path was cut through there for the power line. And that path, or that power line, ran from the Rock Creek Power Station over here to the Fremont Power Station. And they tied those two together and provided power to these mines that are out in here, over in around Sumter. So all this was tied together. I think this mine also got power from that line. Now this mine was started in about 1897 is when they started working on this. They worked it off and on to a certain degree, but in I think it was 1938, they installed a 50-ton flotation plant, mill and flotation plant there, and it ran up until 1941. From the nearest I can tell, the only reason it shut down was because of the war. So there might still be some pretty valuable minerals in here. Also, another interesting thing about this mine is it evidently was patented at one time. It looks like it no longer is. I don't know how it fell back in the hands of the Forest Service now has this land, but it looks like at one time this was patented ground, and somehow it reverted back. So let's wander around out here, and I think somewhere over in here, I'm going off of memory from what I saw on Google Earth, because you can spot these tailings or these waste rock piles. I see one right up there. And this side over here, I see another one right over there. This side of the mine, according to that mine drawing, they stoped most of this out. So this would be an area you really want to pay attention for workings that come right up to the surface. And by the way, that mine that's over there, this has not been wilderness. Right below me here, this is wilderness, quote unquote wilderness. There's mines and roads all over in that thing. But I can't remember what year they made that wilderness. I think it was in the 80s. Little did we know, a buddy of mine and I tried to take our motorcycles. There's on old maps it shows a road going through there right by that power line. We tried to take our bikes through there, and right below that mine, there's, I think, 4 perfectly intact ore carts sitting down several hundred feet below the actual waste rock piles, but they're just in perfect shape. We never did, by the way, make it across. We didn't know it was wilderness at the time, but we got down in there and it just disappeared on us. But anyway, there's some good ore carts sitting right over there somewhere. I got up to this mine way later than what I was expecting. I got sidetracked looking at a couple other mines, which will show up in a future video. I think either this is an open stope or this is that raise. It might have been a raise right there. No, this has to be a stope that's collapsed in. What that tells me is these adit levels on this side, or as they call them on the map, tunnels, most likely don't go anywhere. You may ask, why did they dig here? Well, there's a pretty good reason. This whole mountain behind me used to be called Bald Mountain at one time, way back when. That's the Bald Mountain batholith. It's nothing but granite. This whole thing is a granite intrusion. We're all through here. So right in here, we're on the edge of that granite intrusion. And so you get along those edges of these intrusions, a lot of times that's where the gold is. It's getting to be that time of day where it's really hard to adjust your for your lighting. Getting these long shadows, lots of dark spots. So up through there, I think the adit would have come out somewhere right in here. And all that above is just collapse. Okay, here's the actual adit. And I believe this is the one that would have connected. So here's the waste rock pile. You can see lots of quartz in it. Like I said, this level connected into the other side of the mountain, as you can see here on this drawing. I'm fairly certain this is the lowest on this side of the hill, the lowest adit. Lots of good looking material. I don't know, they must have, once they dug this over here, they must have hauled the ore over on horse or wagon down to the mill. And then later, once they put that raise or winds, I couldn't tell which it was. When they put that in, they probably hauled it out through one of the lower adits on the other side. We'll walk up here and see if we can find the upper adit, and then we'll go back down and look at what's on the other side. I'm on the other side of this collapse. Looking down in the bottom, I would almost guarantee that's where that either shaft or raise come up. You can see right in the middle, it's sinking in still. There's some sharp edges, so material is still going down in there. So I'm almost guarantee that's where that came up at. Well, let's see what's up above here. And off of this side, it's, I don't know, 40 feet down from the top of that to the bottom. I'm not really sure why they dug from this side of the hill. Unless at one time it was a separate claim, is about the only thing I can come up with. Well, let's go down to the bike and head down off of here. We'll go down and look at the other adit levels real quick, and we'll call it a day. Looking at the map, I'm pretty sure what we're walking up here to is tunnel number 3. I think what we passed on the way in, that ore bin looking thing down there, was tunnel number 4. They're calling them tunnels. They're probably better described as adits. This one here, you can call it a tunnel since it does kind of connect to the other side. Quite a bit of water coming down. Through the trees there's a log building of some kind. I don't really expect to find any of these open. And right down there would have been the the bottom of the level coming in. You can tell it's completely collapsed. Here, when I was up on top, I was looking for the road that come down. That's the original road. I couldn't find it from the top side. See all the water just pouring out of that little crack there. You can see they evidently stoped out and then it collapsed in. Well, I walked up the little road a ways, come across another old adit that's been collapsed for a long time. You can see the size of the tree that's grew up in the middle of where the ore carts would have come out of. So that's a no-go. Not a huge waste rock pile. I may come back up here and bring the four-wheeler and a chainsaw and try cutting this road open, because there's another level up there. There's quite a bit of water coming down over here. It's probably just like this one below me where it's collapsed and just oozing up out of the ground, but quite a stream of water coming out of, I think that would be level 1 up there. I think this is level 2. So there's one more waste rock pile I want to look at, and then I'm gonna call it a day. It's getting pretty late in the day. Just tree after tree after tree down along this road. So if I want to get up this, I need to bring a saw up here and cut this out. You can see the amount of water coming down from up above. I'm assuming this is coming out of the first level up there. It could be a natural spring, but I kind of doubt it. There is one other waste rock pile I want to go investigate real quick, and we'll come back and look at that log cabin thing. Boy, this suffered from the same windstorm that took that tower down, our radio tower. It's only about 20 air miles from here. There's trees down all over up here. You can see there's a pretty good waste rock pile here. And you can see where it went in the hillside and it is collapsed. So let's go look at that log structure. We'll walk out here and look at this real quick. So just for reference, the mill site is right down there. On the way out, found an old carbide tin. And here is that rather large log cabin. Had really high walls on it. First I thought it was an ore bin when I first saw it, but definitely some kind of cabin. Front and back door. Well, that would have been interesting to see when it was all intact. Well, guys, I've about had it for today. I would have loved to get up there to that first level and look at it, but it's late in the day. I'm tired. This bike has been wearing me out today. This bike's good at a lot of things. Going up through this rough terrain where you need to be going 2 miles an hour, boy, it'll about kill you off. So anyway, thanks for watching, subscribing, and I guess we'll see you guys on the next video. I stopped at this mine on my way to the LaBellevue mine. Thought I would show you this complete mill. This was probably used back, I'm guessing, in the 70s or 80s. It's 1970s or 1980s. Obviously had some kind of flotation process set up. Now this mine, but it was one of the longest running mines here in Northeast Oregon. I'm not sure how productive it was, but there you can see the ball mill. I'm wondering up ahead there whether there wasn't a jaw crusher ahead of that. These all look to be in pretty good shape, really. All the windows are broke out now, but the structure itself is in pretty good shape. You can see the electric motor. Looks like they took it apart for some reason. They produce their own power on site in later years. I think early on they did get power from Eastern Oregon Light Company, I believe was the name. Sorry, I'm just using my phone. I didn't feel like digging the camera out of my pack. There's some steep stairs. Well, since we're here, we'll go down there. Get a better look at the flotation plant there. Those stairs are not in good enough shape to climb down. I'll go around to the bottom and look up. I do want to note, looks like at one time, at least part of this was insulated, but the pack rats have pretty much took care of that. I kind of think this was the office where the plant manager would have sat. Newer insulation. Somebody has come in and stripped out all the wiring. Up there is where the ore bin is. So I'm guessing up in here, there's probably a jaw crusher in here. See those big bands? Those probably went around a large water tank that sat there at one time. So, here's the ore bin. Looks like the ore fed down into there onto a conveyor. You can see the conveyor going up through there. Surprised the motor's still here. A couple bats flying around below me. You can see below me, here's another large ore bin right here. It looks like that conveyor just come out here and dumped into that ore bin. I would have thought there would have been a jaw crusher out here. I don't see any evidence of one. So that right below me, this big ore bin, I'm not sure why they had it set up this way. That would have looks like it fed right down into the ball mill. So they may have had a pre-crusher somewhere else on the property, a jaw crusher or something of the sort to get this down to the size they wanted. Interesting. Unless they did have a little jaw crusher set up right down there, and then it dumped onto this conveyor. Normally, if it's a jaw crusher to any size, it sat on cement. I just don't see any evidence of it. Though I do see a lot of pulleys or belts sitting here. So there may have been a small jaw crusher sitting right here, and then it dropped down to that conveyor. That would make sense. Okay, let's go look down below the mill now. I'm not sure what year this mill was built. Whether these logs, they look somewhat old. I don't know, it's probably been here at least 50 years or better. But that's that large ore bin we were just looking in. And it feeds right down into that building where that ball mill is. I just kind of wanted to document this mill before time and history takes its toll on this place and it just disappears. Like so many other mills have just vanished. Even though this is a little bit newer mill, some of the equipment in there does look fairly old. So they probably reused some stuff off the old mill. I don't have a ton of history on this mine. I've read about it before and I've since forgotten. I just happened to drive by and thought I would show you this mill. So there's looking back up with flotation cells. I'm really surprised these old motors are still sitting here. You can tell from these jugs, these are not all that old. I'm guessing from the 1980s. If I remember right, this was in some operation during the 1980s and maybe a little after even. I'm going to drive down. There's a waste rock pile below me, quite a good sized one. And one above me. Then I'm going to get on my way back to the LaBellevue mine.